Hi there, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Today is Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Miranda Alt with Keller Williams Success Realty and the Miranda Alt team. And today I am interviewing Kim Hankins. She is the Director of Sustainability Center at MCC, McHenry County College here in McHenry County. She is currently getting her PhD in sustainability. So very knowledgeable on how we can cut our energy costs, kind of some of the different options out there for energy. And who doesn't want to save money on their energy bill? I think we all, especially right now with some of the heat that we've been having. I know my husband said, oh man, I'm sort of not excited about getting our energy bill this month because it's just going to be so high. So Kim is going to talk to us about some of those options. So welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Miranda. This is very fun. I appreciate the opportunity to do this.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I just called you sort of randomly just to chat and see how things were doing. And we started talking about sustainability and solar panels and all this interesting stuff. And you are such a wealth of information. I wanted to make sure that anybody that follows me on social media gets some of the information too. So can you tell us a little bit about what you told me the other day about solar panels?
For sure. Yeah. And so I don't necessarily have every answer, but I can direct people to the right people that do. So we'll just put it that way. I don't want people to think I know absolutely everything because I don't, but there's lots of good people out there that I work with that can help us answer all those questions. So last year, Illinois passed some legislation that's called CJA. It stands for the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, and created some platforms for some additional energy work. The goal is to move Illinois to 100% carbon-free power by 2045. So as part of that, they're expanding a lot of the energy efficiency programs, which I'll talk about a couple of those in a few minutes. They've done some really good work on ethics standards for our utilities, which is really good. They're expanding a lot of our options. And one of the biggest things is they're really making it a very equitable program. So they're reaching out to low income and middle income folks to be able to really make a lot of this is accessible. So one of the big things I want to talk about is community solar. So that's a big program that's happening right now that's available to all of us in all different parts of Illinois. Basically what you do is you purchase a portion of the electricity that's produced by a very large solar installation. So for example, I was telling you, Miranda, last week, right, about Miranda. So there's a very, very large one that's being built on the border of McHenry and Boone County right now. That it might actually already be done. But anyway, most of the energy has already been sold. It's very large, and that one is really designed for big things like hospitals and schools and stuff like that. It's not really aimed at the homeowner, but there's lots of other ones that are aimed at the homeowner. So basically you just sign up and it lowers your bills. And by adding that solar power to our whole grid, we're expanding our options, and we definitely are reducing our reliability or we're reducing our efforts with power plants and fossil fuels, which is always a good thing.
And then you don't have to put the solar panels on your home necessarily. Like we were talking about home options. And I know we have a friend who sells solar panels, and he had proposed to us that we would put them on this side of our house that's right by our garage. Well, we were like, I don't really want to drive up to my house and see all the solar panels on my house. So my house is not really a great design for having solar panels. And you said same thing about your house.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I mean, me, the director of sustainability, I can't put solar panels on my house because there's too many trees. I mean, that was one thing I was going to mention is if you're looking at rooftop solar, there's some options for that too. We first definitely want to look at all the energy efficiency stuff. You don't want to build a bigger system than you need on your house. You want to do an evaluation in terms of the age of your roof. That's a big thing. Like we just replaced our roof a couple of years ago, and so it was a really good timing to put solar on. And then we had it evaluated by a solar installer who said, no, it's just, I have too many angles and there's not enough exposure. So
yeah, it's not necessarily the best, it's not the best option for everybody.
But there are good things for the people that homes do work. If you want to own it, if you want to put your own panels on there, there's really good tax incentives right now and tax credits. You get on-bill credits for like if you produce more of the energy than you need, which most of us would produce a little bit more than you need. That goes back to the grid and you get credit for that. So that's always nice. But then there's other options, like you mentioned, your friend that sells panels. There's a leasing option and something called a power purchase agreement where you don't own the panels. You're basically kind of renting them. And
I have sold And I have sold homes with those on them. And we do know how to do that now in the real estate industry. We do know. So, I mean, some people might be wondering, but what if I sell my house and I'm leasing these panels? We know how to do that. So just so people know.
That's good. And that's the same with community solar too. You take your subscription with you. So if you're staying in the same territory, so if, like, I'm talking ComEd up here and NICOR, obviously, but if you're staying in the same territory, you can take that subscription that they call it, where you're buying that energy with you to your next home. So that's always nice.
Yeah. So then you have was there more you wanted to say about solar? Sorry.
I was just going to mention that a really, really good resource is this Illinois Solar Energy Association website. They have done a lot of vetting with companies, and they've got a lot of sort of how-tos and fact sheets and stuff like that. So I mentioned, I think to you earlier, was the Citizens Utility Board too, and I'll get to that in just a second, but those are two really good resources. I really trust the Illinois Solar Energy Association for good information.
Great. So I had a question for you when I was talking to you about this and realizing that you were a resource was, I've gotten these mailers in my, in the mail that says, be clean energy, subscribe to this and switch your bill. And I was very freaked out by that because I thought, I don't know who this is. And I don't know if it's legitimate. I don't want to be giving out it made me a little skeptical. So I didn't actually sign up for it. So you had told me that we actually already are. A couple of things that I found interesting. One of which was how you can use ComEd and how they can help you save on your energy bill. And the other thing was how to vet those companies and make sure that they are legitimate before you actually sign up for something. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Let me answer that second question first about vetting those companies. That's where that Citizens Utility Board comes into play. Those guys are a nonprofit. They're a utility watchdog. And so they're basically keeping an eye on the whole industry for us, which is great. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to pay them any dues. Of course, they'd love it if you're a member, but they don't have to get all their information. And they do a tremendous job in helping you ask the right questions. There's actually even a fact sheet about the questions to ask and sort of things to watch out for on one of their websites, on their clean energy website. So they're a really good resource for that kind of stuff. And because it's important to vet that.
And I'll put that link in the chat or in the comments. Yeah.
But yeah, the ComEd stuff they offer, the biggest thing I always tell people about is this home energy assessment. We do get postcards and mailers about that. And it does sound kind of weird. You're like, why would I let this stranger in my house? But basically what you're doing is you're already paying for this on your ComEd bill. There's a little line that says, it changes all the time, like environmental fee or something like that. That's going towards all these energy efficiency programs. ComEd didn't always do all these out of the kindness of their heart. So we are actually paying for these things already. So they do a home energy assessment. Basically, someone comes to your home, obviously a ComEd employee. They do an entire walkthrough. They will give you like LED bulbs. They'll give you hopefully give you some thermostats. It kind of all depends where they are in the calendar year, how much they've got left. So it's always good to get the program early in the year. But they'll just tell you about all the other eligible discounts that you're available for, some of the financing if you need to replace like a water heater or something like that, you want to do greener. They'll create this huge report for you that you can kind of look back on and look at your energy use. And it's all for free, sort of.
Wow.
That's a really nice thing. I've done it twice now since when we first moved into our home. They had just started the program and it was really different. And then we did it again a few years ago and it was different information. It's just newer, better products. And single family homes, condos, townhouses. Then if you're a multi-family home, you can still do this, but it has to be through the property owner.
Okay, got it. And did you see a discount or did you see your energy bills increase or improve?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we switched. Our outdoor lighting was a big thing because we tend to keep it on, like most of us. We keep it on either overnight or a lot during the evening. We change all our outdoor bulbs because those old outdoor bulbs were huge energy suckers. We changed a lot of our power strips. Like all of us, we have a million things to plug in. So I have these power strips that only work when you plug something in. So they're not pulling electricity when you don't need to. So just little stuff like that. Definitely. I mean, it wasn't like thousands of dollars, but a couple $100 here and there was definitely help. Definitely in the summer. So let me tell you about these other two programs that we do for energy excite. So one is called central air conditioning or central AC cycling. And what happens with ComEd is there's peak times during the day, and peak time is usually like 2 to 5 or 2 to 6 o'clock at night, 2 p.m. And that's when the biggest draw is on the energy grid. So what they do is they cycle your air conditioning, which of course is our biggest energy user in our home. and they cycle it on and off in 15-minute intervals. So it's not so much that you necessarily notice it, especially if we're like, I'm at work until 5 or 5:30, so I wouldn't really even notice it. My dog might be unhappy, but she'd be okay.
Or those of us that work from home, which is
right,
a lot
it's
of
true.
us now.
It might be different. And then you can, and then you can kind of direct. So the AC cycling thing is really nice. And then you get really big credits on your bill, depending on how much. So you can do like a 50% cycle or 100% cycle, depending on kind of what that. So that's worth looking to. And then they have a time of day pricing. And so there's 2 options within this. And again, all this information really detailed on the Citizens Utility Board website. They have an hourly pricing where you basically say, I want the cheapest price available to me all throughout the day. And so they're constantly changing the price of your electricity, because the price of electricity changes throughout the day. It gets much more expensive at the end of the day. Like I said, during that peak time, it's very, very inexpensive from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., I think it is. So they call that peak and off peak. So there's a couple different options. There's hourly, and then you can pay peak or off peak pricing. So I don't want to get too much in the weeds with it, but there's a lot of options out there with that kind of stuff, which is nice. We did a few years ago, we did one that it's been upgraded now to the central AC cycling, but both my husband and I were working during the day and our kids were at school. So we had that cycling thing happen, and our air conditioning kind of went down a little bit, or up a little bit. It turned off a little bit during the day. Yeah. And again, it wasn't huge energy savings, but these days it adds up really quickly. Our energy costs are definitely increasing. So it helps.
Not only that, and just being conscious of your carbon footprint is important too. So, I think that all of that is always super important and worthwhile. There's my husband. So the joys of working from home. Mm-hmm. And, so it's always good to be keeping mindful of those things and making sure that we're doing everything we can to minimize our carbon footprint. So Kim, thank you so much for talking with me today and sharing all of your wisdom with all of our followers. I know everybody is always concerned about how they can save money, and this is yet another way we can save money. So thank you for sharing your wisdom. I'm going to post all of this information in the comments. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me or find Kim. She's at MCC. And Kim, is it okay?
My email address too. So I'll give you that too for your comments, and make sure people are welcome to reach out to us. It's really easy, actually. It's sustainability at McHenry.edu. So feel free to email us anytime. I'm happy to follow up with any of this.
That's excellent. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you, Kim, for your time.
I'm
Miranda Alt. I'm Miranda Alt with Keller Williams Success Realty. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.